Show before the show.
Yeah, baby.
Show before the show. Oop.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Are we on?
We are.
Sure is.
Let me see. I don't see us yet. Always takes a minute.
For some reason, it does
here we
not
go.
say that we are on
TikTok again. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we had days where we were live there,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden we're not on TikTok anymore.
Yeah.
Who
I
knows?
just
And I'm not getting any notifications.
I don't.
When's the last time you tried
don't
to
care.
post anything?
Day before yesterday.
Oh, you
because-
did?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you send me anything?
Yeah.
If you did,
Day before
forgive
yesterday I
me.
did. Well, so my whatever they're doing on Wild Horse is affecting my internet again. And so if I try to do anything from home, it's like I have to sit there and wait. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be glued
Exactly.
right now to my desk in the office.
No, we appreciate you guys letting us know. Yeah, we were just talking about TikTok. We didn't think we were on
Thanks, Greg.
TikTok.
Good morning,
Happy New
Tanya.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Hey,
In
E-Rog.
2025. I know it's early, guys, but I'm sorry. I'm going to just throw it out to you. And you can never make a change with something where every single person always agrees. But all three of us agree here. We may change the name of the show. We feel like we've come into a new time.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, you can't do that.
yeah. Cancel
yes, we
culture's
can.
over with. You know.
Well,
I
it'll
think,
never be over.
well,
but
I mean, a
think
lot of
the-
it is.
Yeah.
You don't
I
think it
mean,
is?
No, I do.
Oh,
I'm
I
saying
thought you were being
that I think it's
sarcastic.
died down quite a bit. Yeah.
No, well, it's not gone.
Right.
We got to
right.
be real. It's not.
Not on TikTok.
No. Tanya, you're so great. You're like.
No, she is amazing.
She's always
We
looking out for
appreciate
us.
you guys. Thanks for liking, subscribing, letting people know what we're doing. We appreciate it. Boom, 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 boom.
Joe, I had some lemon juice yesterday in my water.
Were you not feeling well?
Oh, I've been fighting something just for the last couple weeks.
Mine started 2 days ago. That's
Yeah,
why I was asking you.
I just don't. This time of year, the cold, dry weather does not do me right at all.
And how do you feel today?
You know, I actually feel pretty good, but it could have been the Benadryl I took last night too.
Could have been.
No, but I do. I feel good. I'm gonna hit the steam room again today, and that
Keep-
seems to help me.
Keep hitting that lemon juice
I
and hit
will.
the steam room. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Maybe sleep. Maybe sit still for an hour a day. I got a whole new routine I'm gonna dive into. Start taking care of me. Yes, that's for sure.
Hey guys, welcome to the show before the show. Happy New Year. First show of the new year. Joe, do you know which show this is, by the way? Is it 498? Do you know by chance?
It's
Joe, I don't-
498. I'm sorry. I
Jo-
somehow turned my mic off.
what show is it?
498.
Okay, thank you.
I heard you, Joe. Was
He
your
didn't
mic
have-
not on?
No, he didn't have it on with me.
Oh, that was weird.
Getting ready to rock and roll, guys. Okay. When Christmas and New Year land on Wednesdays a week, it messes up the whole week. Yesterday
Yeah.
felt like a Sunday to me. Today feels like a
Mhm.
Monday. It does not feel like a Thursday.
No, it doesn't. It's weird.
Then I come in, I'm working out this morning in the Strategic Air Services gym. And Kate, who works out in there, she works in the building at another facility, said, "Oh, yeah, did you see we're supposed to get about 10 inches of snow Sunday into Monday?" And I went, "What?"
We are.
That's what she said.
Ooh.
Yeah, like a foot. Well, yeah, 10 inches, a foot. Yeah.
I have a silent retreat that I leave for tomorrow until Sunday. So if I don't get back to anybody, that you awesome people that send me messages, that is why my phones will be off. But that would have been really cool to have had all that snow during the the retreat. Awesome.
Morning, one and all. Way to start 2025 with a bang. We'll be listening in the car. Have a great show, guys. Thank you.
And thanks, Chris, for all your info this morning. Anybody got any fun, good New Year's resolutions that they are going to dive into this year?
Great point, Peter. Hopefully it doesn't impact air travel. Exactly. I have none. I have no resolutions. Just try to do your stuff every day, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
I've never done resolutions, but this year, I don't even know if I call them resolutions, but just goals.
Goals. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. I'm so hard on myself as it is that. Good morning, Cindy. How are you? Hey, Addie.
And
Oh my
it doesn't
gosh.
feel
20 to 30 inches. Where? Holy smokes.
I tell you, it'll be the storm of the century.
Mm-hmm. There's something I kind of like about when they start talking about the snow coming and
what?
you get ready and you go to the store and get your hot chocolate and the salt for the driveway, all that. I love that.
Congrats, Cindy. Third week of retirement. I'm glad to hear you're doing great.
Oh, that's great.
Most people don't mind snow. It's the cold that sucks for them. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect any eggs, milk, or bread to be in the store.
Yeah, or toilet paper. Isn't that what they usually go crazy for
Yeah,
some
pretty
reason?
much.
Mm-hmm. Tanya, where were you saying about the 20 to 30 inches? I'm curious.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, where would that be?
Thankfulness is important. Yes, ma'am. Gratitude and graciousness are essential. Go get him, Gary. There you go. Attaboy. Gary's going to start drinking and smoking in 2025. Hey, Gary, did you get a new puppy I thought I saw? Ooh, French toast sounds good too.
Hope everybody's ready to rock and roll. Welcome to the show before the show.
My kids are in Breckenridge right now, and they're getting ready to have a ton of snow too. Nothing like skiing that fresh powder. Unless it's up to your knees, and then it's not fun.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that fun?
Oh, okay. So our local area, Tanya. Okay. Greg, where are you headed at 5:30 a.m. next Wednesday? Are you and Danielle heading somewhere fun and exciting?
All right, people. Joe, go ahead and start the show then, buddy. Are you looking to elevate your brand's presence? Partner with Cancel This Show with myself, Vic Faust, and my co-host,
Megan Marie. We're ranked in the top 10% globally.
Our show has reached over 1.68 million engaged listeners, and we continue to grow monthly
Podcasting is one of the best ways to advertise
because it offers a highly engaged audience, SEO targeted reach,
and the ability to build a personal connection with listeners.
dive into the dynamic world of cancel culture, politics, all current events, and the latest news with us.
It's the American taxpayers that are having to pay for all of this monkey business left and right.
Look at all of these pictures. They are using AI to generate fake photos, and we show you them. And Joe will show, we got a video of one, we've got certain pictures.
They were hiding the fact and trying to lie to the American people for months that Joe Biden was doing well.
This is Kamala. This is Joe Biden. It's Barack Obama. It's Jake Sullivan, all together doing anything and everything they can to strike back at Donald Trump because he continues to kick their ass.
If that doesn't make you mad enough to vote one way or another in this election, nothing will do it.
Get your company's voice heard, your brand recognized.
And the exposure you deserve.
Does your brand align with our mission?
Let's talk and make an impact together. And welcome into the show. Vic Faust, Megan Marie Moret, Projo in the house as well. Guys, it is Thursday. Happy 2025 as we broadcast into the new year. Okay, we may be switching our name. I'm just going to tell you, we may be switching our name coming up, all right? And there's a variety of that. All three of us are on board, so there you go. I know that may frustrate some of you. We'll keep you posted on it. Let's just put it that way. Thank you, though, for supporting us. Rumble, Facebook, you can watch us there live. You can watch us on X, and we will be back on TikTok, but you can catch all of our content. Pretty much we have content on all the websites, all the social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. So we're grateful you're here. It is 2025, T-minus 18 days and counting until Donald Trump is in office. Megan, are you ready for 2025 now? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I am. I've got, I saddled up the 2025 horse with a new bit and I'm ready to roll. That's for sure.
You got a new bit. I love it. Projo around as well. We're here. We try to bring energy. We try to have fun. But at the same point in time, a lot of what happens in life isn't fun, unfortunately. And we try to keep a good attitude about it. But what has happened with terrorist attacks that occurred early yesterday morning and during the day can put a damper on things. We're going to talk about that. We'll get into that. The speakership vote is tomorrow as well, with Mike Johnson getting the support of Donald Trump. We'll get into that a little bit as well and see where else the show takes us. And of course, jump in on the chat line. You can do that once again, where we can see your information on X. You can do it on Facebook, Rumble. We love to hear your comments, of course. Like, subscribe, share the show. We're here till about 10 o'clock today. Tanya says TikTok allows me to post cancel this, but definitely not live. It was live. We will check that out. Yes, you've been with us, Cindy, for the long haul, going all the way back to the Edge days. We're approaching years of broadcasting right now. By the way, this is also cancel this episode 498. So maybe we do 500 shows and then change the name. Maybe that's, maybe it's apropos for where we go. Okay. Do we start talking about the new year? Do we jump into, the elephant in the room?
Well, we definitely need to address it. It's a sad couple of events that has taken place in the last 24 hours. So
we got, is the death toll is it still 10?
15.
It's up. Okay. It was at 15 yesterday. Then I saw a report that said 20. Then I saw another one last night before I went to bed at 10. Now we're starting to hear about the innocent people who lost their lives in New Orleans. One gentleman, I don't even want to show his name or his face, and you can find that. His name, his face is everywhere, who decided to take rent a truck and plow through New Orleans and Bourbon Street. Most of you, unless you obviously, as they like to say, been under a rock for 3, 4, 5 days, know what's going on. Okay. People innocently killed at 3 a.m, just standing there. And I don't want to show the video of the truck plowing through. You can find that as well. I watched it. I looked at bodies laying on the street. There's video of that everywhere. Made me sick to my stomach. The guy driving the car the truck inspired by ISIS. So, and he's now gone. He's unalive. And by the way, he was wearing full body armor. Yeah. So
Which is funny to me because it was definitely a suicide mission. Why you would even bother wearing, a vest, I guess possibly knowing that he would be shot at, but with him wanting to have, mass carnage on his mind, he thought that maybe having that vest would deter him from being taken out sooner. But either way, it's obvious that it was a suicide mission. And it's just so unfortunate because when you see this man and you watch him talk and you look at his history, it just goes to show that mental illness is just taking people over, because when he looks and sounds like a nice guy. I don't know what else to say about it.
So do you think mental illness, and this is a great point. So if you can have mental illness if you become radicalized.
Absolutely.
Okay. What a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
He served in our military, and not for just a couple years. The guy spent some time.
10 years.
Yes. And, was in Afghanistan, fought for us. Super, super intelligent guy. Seems to be very friendly. And this is what happens when you get sucked in by radicals or radical ideology. You completely lose your grip on reality. You become delusional and then deranged, and then you want to do this to innocent people. And I think that that's what the most important thing is, is that when you have, when you're upset about something, whether it's the government or the leaders of our country or something like that, that's one thing. But when you go and you want to take out people that have absolutely nothing to do with whatever is going on in your, crazy mind, that's when it's just so sad. I feel so bad for those people. They were innocent young people. There were college students. Vic said that there was an 18-year-old that. Oh,
a girl, high school girl. She snuck out of the house. She snuck out of the house to go party.
Yeah.
And then imagine the parents that get the call, Megan. Your daughter is no longer with us.
Your daughter was killed by a terrorist on our American soil. What does that say for us? What does that say for us right now? And people right now are pointing fingers. They're pointing fingers at law enforcement in New Orleans, that there should have been more barricades, that it wasn't secure. They're pointing fingers at allowing this car to come across the border, even though it was, an American citizen who executed this horrible disaster.
Well, from the chat line, look at this. Glenn says his second wife had a restraining order on him. He was on the verge of bankruptcy because of real estate, and he introduced himself to the world through real estate marketing videos. We get this ideas, predictions for 2025, lots of violence, protest, terrorism. It's going to kick in until you squash it. You're going to see Antifa, BLM, commies, future, deportables, rainbows, nerds, every basement dweller revolting, done by April. Okay, There we go. And then Chris says the mosque that this guy was a member posted on their Facebook group, told its members not to communicate with the FBI or other law enforcement agencies. This mosque has been investigated for radicalization of members more than once before. This is why there's a problem. And I'm sorry, you may know peaceful Muslims. I do as well. But there is a problem when the faith is apart and is taking part in telling members not to coordinate, not to cooperate, anything with the FBI or federal agents. That is a problem, especially when you have these 15 innocent lives and all the other people who are injured. What, 35 maybe?
Yeah,
more.
Many. There's people that are holding on to their lives,
and some of those injuries are for life.
That's right.
So that's a major issue. Donald, and then of course we'll talk about possible connections when it comes to what happened in Vegas. We'll show you some of that video right now. All we know is that he was driving around with an ISIS flag, radicalized by ISIS. Donald Trump came out and had a quote, and I'm glad Donald said this, quote, "Our country is a disaster." Yeah, that's a good way to put it right out of the gate. A laughing stock all over the world. This is what happens when you have open borders with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, FBI, and Democratic state and local prosecutors have not done their job. They are incompetent and corrupt, having spent all of their waking hours unlawfully attacking their political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from outside forces and scum that has infiltrated our government, our nation, and itself. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our country. The CIA must get involved now before it is too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all over our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again. And once again, if you're keeping track and doing the math, T-minus 18 days until we officially get Donald Trump back. Those are the words of a leader who we can't wait to get back and start taking care of business.
Mm-hmm. You know, and like we've said a million times, people that want to do bad things, terrorists, or whether they're homegrown or outside of our own, borders, they're taking this opportunity right now to do as much, or try to do as much as they can, because they knew that a new sheriff's in town. And it's, unfortunately, I don't think that this is the end of it. I think that there are so many things in the works right now, and this could have been a whole lot worse. And praise God, it wasn't. With the car, the Cybertruck blowing up at Trump Towers, or Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, they're all trying to send a message. And hopefully we're going to be able to, hopefully they're going to allow the American people to know what is going on and allow us to see the dots.
I don't think they know.
Right
now we're still, and this is what's interesting. The Sugar Bowl was canceled yesterday in New Orleans. They're going to play it today at 3:00. But if you see the updates, I mean, it's been a cluster. And I know you're not expecting that to hit at 3 a.m. So many bad things from the get-go when it came to the planning and safety aspect. Okay. But right now, we don't know if there were other people. They arrested some people in New Orleans. Then they released them. Then we were told there were possible 4 other people. Then there were other, let's just say, packages that were supposed to detonate that allegedly were found and detonated to make sure that people were had the safety there. So then somebody made the decision to make sure that safety was good. It was allowable to have a game today at 3:00 in New Orleans. So I know a couple of people who said, I wouldn't go to that game.
Oh, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't feel safe with my loved ones.
And my kids for sure wouldn't be going.
And it's a good point. I mean, would I go if I'm being told it's safe right now? I would, just because so many things, these horrible things have happened already. But I wouldn't blame anybody for not going. Are you kidding me? 15 lives and all that happened. And, they had barriers set up. By the way, they had barriers that would have stopped vehicles, allegedly. They didn't use them. They had the orange cones. They had the orange barriers up instead. I mean, give me a break. Why? Right. Total lack of leadership in the city of New Orleans. And once they figure out who, what, where, when, and why, obviously some of these people, the police chief, I'm sorry, not a good job. You did not do a good job, and she should be fired immediately. It's very sad. So obviously that's one thing that happened. Glenn says, what happened to the house in Houston? We're still waiting to see. That's where the driver of the truck allegedly had a residence. There is video on the internet showing a man from last night standing outside the home with his hands in the air. He looked similar to the man that carried out the attack, in my humble opinion, whatever that means for you. So, what would they do with drones? So I have absolutely no idea if they know. Nobody knows. Now that went down. Okay. The lives lost, the people injured. Are there other people? Who knows? Is it a lone wolf? Who knows? They're trying to figure it out. There's a game today. We'll see. The other thing that happens with this is the fact that, okay, we know he was inspired by ISIS. Even Joe Biden came out yesterday and spoke. Here's Joe. I mean, check out Joe Biden's
tried to
quote.
Speak.
I know it's sad and funny, but you're right. He tried to speak when you listen to him. This is this makes him sound a little bit better, because his whole appearance was bad.
Just listen to this though. When he says New Orleans, he says it like he's a native.
He tried.
The only people that say New Orleans are native New Orleans. I think it's so funny.
You know what it reminded me of?
Trying to
Kamala, like he was trying to act like Kamala used
putting
to
on
act.
a little accent.
You do hear it here.
Yeah.
The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possible. The FBI also reported.
I mean,
yeah,
ISIS. So if we see somebody with an ISIS flag, what do? Do you aim and fire? I mean, seriously,
Well,
I've seen ISIS flags flying around St. Louis at protest rallies.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that in this wonderful country of the free. You're allowed to run around with ISIS flags, Hamas flags. You're allowed to say that you hate Jews, that you hate Christians. You're allowed to desecrate, monuments that have been around for over 100 years that represent our Constitution and our freedom. You're allowed to do all of these things, and as long as we continue to allow this, you're going to see things like this happen. It just happens. I mean, nowhere else on this planet does a country allow, well, maybe Germany's getting a little weird, France is getting a little weird, and so is England. But, you can't just run around and basically say that you're standing behind a group that believes in killing people.
Yeah, a couple notes on Biden from the chat line. He looked terrible. Yeah, he did. Every time we see him, he does look worse.
Yeah.
Allegedly, the prompter went out again. And he was fumbling, mumbling, stumbling around. Once again, we showed Joe the video last week of all the Democrats telling us how great he was. And to Megan, your point, okay, it's one thing to have these atrocities happening, these horrible, senseless tragedies, as we saw, all in the name of Allah or the Muslim faith and all of these things that are going on. And then it's even worse. This video, just a few hours later, this was in New York, in Manhattan. Look at these people protesting and supporting what happened. They weren't protesting against what happened. They were marching in support of what this evil devil did. The deportations can't start fast enough, and I don't know who's here legally, who's here on visas, who's here on what. But this, after people lost their lives and injuries in Manhattan.
Innocent people lost their lives, and these mentally ill fools are walking down the street in support of it. There's no gray here. It's black and white.
We broadcast out of the St. Louis, Missouri area. We have a national audience. Tanya jumps in and says ISIS flags at Merrimack College in Kirkwood and a few in the St. Louis area as well. Some flags are illegal to burn except for the U.S. flag. And you see these things, and whether it's pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Iran, and all of these things that are going on in terrorist groups, ISIS, you can't be a part of that. They represent your faith. That after what we just saw marching in the streets of New York. That's sick.
It's really sick. And it's really, really sad too, because that just goes to show, we all wonder why there are so many bad things happening in our country, especially like New York. I mean, that's like the prime place right now for these people. It's almost like they're feeding hate or something to all of the people in New York. New York has lost their dang mind. I mean, everyone, wonders, like, you can't get on a subway anymore. You can't walk the streets safe anymore. You can't. Well, this is part of the problem. I mean, you've got people walking around by the hundreds, by the thousands in support of mass murder. That is as simple as it is. And we're supposed to just all sit back and, I've got my oldest son going to New York next week, and I'm like literally planning out. I'm like, please do not ride the subway. Please do not take an Uber from here to here to here. Like, you can't, because this is what you see. I mean, people have lost their minds, and nobody's stopping it. That's the sad part.
Well, I'm told so much more is plotted and planned that does get stopped, but
I'm sure. Yeah.
But you can't stop everything, which is sad, and because we're like, wait a second.
Well, when you have the guardian angels and not the NYPD, not the National Guard, not the military, when you have a volunteer group of people that are manning the subway system in New York, that we've got a problem. Why does it have to be them that are going around to make sure that the citizens are not being, stabbed, burned alive? Why is it them? Why aren't we doing more? They just sit back. Kathy Hochul likes to say that she's making the city safe. Well, show us.
Well, Chris says this will not be the last time this happens. There are potentially 60 possible detonation devices that are undetectable by normal means that are in our borders. That's via information received from Sarah Adams, former CIA targeter. Now, the other thing that I started thinking about when this happened, let's think back to last year when Chris Wray, former FBI director, said, yeah, we know there's a lot of people who came in illegal. his quote was, "We all need to keep a head on a swivel because something that happened like October 7th in Israel could definitely happen in the United States." And I'm like, what? Yeah, in the United States. So are these the kind of things? But we've talked about this. We've been saying these things can happen over and over and over again. I mean, just think if New Orleans used the damn right car barriers, it does not happen. That's what frustrates me. From the chat line, Glenn says, wow, I hadn't seen that video shown anywhere. Of course, you're not going to see that video shown anywhere because national media will not show you that video, which is why you can't trust national media or the local media because they will refuse to do that. Tiny says, does New Orleans have the same mayor as they had during COVID? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But you should be concerned, I think, because things can happen at any point in time. We know that people do not like America, and we know that we did not have safe borders, and we know that 11 to 20 million illegals came in. And guess what? Out of all those people, it can only take like 100, 500 to start messing. Heck, it took one to really affect the lives of a lot of people and the safety, so much so that it pushed one of the biggest bowl games back a day. One person.
Yeah.
That's what concerns me. Now, you had that going on. And by the way, he rented that vehicle from the Turo app. Then yesterday in Vegas, a Cybertruck, a Tesla Cybertruck blows up. And Joe, you can show the video. Blows up in front of Trump Tower in Vegas. It's like, my God, are you kidding me? And the video of this, and it wasn't an electric battery. And now the guys, it's an American name. He died, 7 others injured. And you can tell from the explosion that it wasn't just a battery. And we're told now that it was detonated.
Yeah.
So
another suicide mission.
But we don't know if they're similarly, if they're attached to one another. All we know is this coincidence or not? But that car, that Cybertruck, was rented through the Turo app as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, very interesting that Turo, you get rented through Turo.
And here's the thing too about this particular situation. This car was seen on CCT driving around in front of the Trump Hotel an hour before this happened. So they see him driving, he passes, I think it was a few times. And then when he pulls up, the car was sitting idle or sitting still for 15 seconds before it went off. So there's no way that this person in the car was unaware of what was about to happen because the trunk of this truck was full of explosives. So, because at first I thought, gosh, maybe they set this person up. Maybe this person didn't know. Maybe this person that rented the car from Turo, maybe he rented it from a terrorist and he had no idea. But when you put it all together, just so happened to be the Trump Hotel. He was definitely casing it, probably to see when he could do the most harm, the most damage. And, another suicide mission just to try and hurt and kill innocent people. What the motive is, I think that we're going to see that it's all connected. I really do.
From the chat line, both men served in the military. I mean, once again, does this have anything to do with ISIS? We don't know yet. We're still trying to get information. And yeah, 7 people were hurt. There were some valet members that were injured. Thankfully, the driver was the only person that we are told that was no longer with us after the explosion. And from the chat line, I think if they were related, the Vegas bomber, so to speak, would have detonated in a more populated area. I agree, but
you
it
think
is
if
interesting.
they were related?
I don't know if they're connected.
I think that it's really, well, then
the only reason that
we just have a lot of crazy people.
Yeah, the only reason I thought that it was Megan was that they both rented from Turo,
right?
Which isn't a common like Enterprise or Hertz,
right?
That it's Turo, or is there an easier way to get things through that app? I don't know.
And both military people. Well, here's the thing too. If you're going to look at it like that, so this car came from Houston, drove from Houston to New Orleans. New Year's Eve, you can take your pickings at where you can run a car into a crowd outside. I mean, people on New Year's Eve are out everywhere. So,
but they have it blocked off. That's what I was thinking. Like normally those are blocked off, those areas.
Right. But you could literally just drive down a regular street
you're right.
and run into people. I mean, yes, this particular area was semi barricaded off. They were working on redoing their security for that.
Frustration.
But still, you're going to drive all the way from Houston. Like, I don't know. I think that there's probably there's got to be a little bit more to it. Whether or not we're going to know about it, I don't know. But I think that there's definitely a message. I think too, and nobody's brought this up, I think it's ironic too that a Tesla, an Elon Musk vehicle, was the one that was blown up in front of the Trump hotel. I think that is just
that's why I didn't think they were connected. That's my gut feeling. It had to do with somebody who despises Trump, despises Elon, an American sounding name, just your everyday, like Michael, whatever. I'm not getting into who the guy is because I hate it. I don't want to give anybody publicity when they go and try to hurt others and unalive others and then unalive themselves on top of it.
Yeah.
Todd says they're lucky the hotel didn't catch on fire. Glenn said, yeah, unless he thought he could possibly bring down the hotel being that close.
Yeah.
But we don't know what kind of explosives were in there. We don't know if the guy was an expert in detonation devices, but like you say, lots of mental illness.
Yeah. But here's another interesting part about this vehicle in particular that was used, because it just so happened to be a Tesla Cybertruck, because of the material that the truck is made from, that contained most of the explosives. That's the only reason that there wasn't more damage done. So I don't know if they didn't think about that when they planned this attack, but because of the Tesla car, most of the explosives were contained in the trunk, and that's
Joe,
why
could you show more video while Megan's talking too? Didn't we have more video to show of the truck blowing up?
Yeah. So that was just an interesting part, but because I thought, well, gosh, if you're trying to, obviously do, major damage and cause fatalities, why wouldn't you have shown up in like a cheap, 1992 Toyota pickup truck and let that blow up? So that was interesting too. So
I don't know
that's what really made me feel like it being a Tesla was a message.
Does this mean anything? The CEO of Turo, because people asked, his name is Andre Haddad. I don't know. I don't know if that means anything, but people were asking who is the owner or CEO of Turo. Andre Haddad, Haddad. Rick, we say unalive because there's certain words that you use and you get Fado banned and all kinds of other things that are going on.
Yeah.
We can talk over the video that Joe showed, just different videos from Vegas where that Cybertruck blew up. From the chat line, Chris says the Muslim Brotherhood needs to be deemed a terrorist organization and removed from the U.S. Once again, I agree. They are financing all of this. There's no difference between ISIS and paying the Taliban's tens of millions of dollars a week, despite the Taliban having under the table affiliations with those groups. You are 100%.
Well, and we can't underestimate these groups, and it's obvious they've got sneaky ways of executing these crimes.
Of course.
And so last night, on Sean Ryan, Sarah Adams, who's former CIA, I believe.
Yeah, I just talked about her.
Yeah. She was on and she basically said that, hey, there's a lot of these plans that are, like you said, Vic, that are being stopped before that they happen. But there is what they call, quote, invisible explosives that are not detected by normal X-ray machines. And there are at least 60 of these explosive devices. I'm going to be real careful with the words that I choose, that are running around the US right now. And so just getting back to, these people are clever. They will stop at nothing to hurt people. And, she said that it's time to have our head in a swivel. I mean, I don't know when we should have ever stopped having our head on a swivel, but she said that it's time to really, really be aware. And that's so sad because you don't want people to live in fear. Like, that's my biggest thing. I do not want to live in fear, but do I want to show up at, a major crowd right now when all of this, all of these things are heating up? No. Do I want to ride the subway system in New York? No. So, it was just interesting to hear. And Chris Steiner, thank you so much for sending us that. But there's a lot going on.
Well, there is. This is cancelthisshow.com. Myself, Vic Faust, Megan Marie Moret, Pro Joe in the house as well, making sure we look and sound as good as we can. Lots of people talking about what happened yesterday, obviously over a holiday, and it becomes a massive, massive story when these kinds of things happen. By the way, the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans will be on today at 3:00. And of course, there's all kinds of coverage all day long. Is it safe to go there? Is it not safe? Why is there a lack of communication when it comes to officials throughout New Orleans? Something tells me they would not allow a football game to go on if they had some sort of feeling that something else was going on. But once again, we don't know. We don't know about all those things that are going on. It also comes a day before the House is voting on their speakership tomorrow with Mike Johnson. By the way, if you haven't been following that over the holiday, he does have the full support of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has basically said, everybody get on board. Get on board so we can get some work done. Donald Trump comes into office 18 days later after today. We've also shown you what's happening when it comes to these terrorist attacks. Are more coming? I brought this up earlier. Chris Wray, former FBI director, said expect them. He told us to expect these last end of October. He let her over back when the attack happened 2 Octobers ago. He said expect them. There are people in the United States who want to do harm. Illegals and legals. It's there. Yet our administration hasn't been focused enough on that. It seemed like the current administration over the last year and a half was more focused on trying to keep Donald Trump from being president than to keep Americans safe. And many of these people we know about, which is unfortunate. So here we go. We're left to find out what happens. What are we going to do? Are we safe? Are we not? And then, of course, if you see people marching with freaking ISIS flags, I'm sorry, it's all connected. This stuff out of the Middle East is connected, and we hate seeing it here in our country. Gosh, those innocent, and you're going to hear more
we are
about
gonna hear
these
more,
people now.
unfortunately.
You're gonna, not all the victims' names have been released. Some of it, and a lot of younger people, college kids, high school girl, young adults. These are brothers, sisters, moms, dads, cousins.
Right. And that's just it. Why do they take their grievance out on innocent people? I just don't understand that. If you're going to take somebody out, to take the person out that you've got the grievance with.
But you're thinking logically again.
I know.
Because you're a very kind person.
I just don't understand this, and there's just no place for it. And, it makes, again, and it's so unfortunate because it groups, when they're talking about the mosque and they're talking about how they've been given specific directions to not speak to any law enforcement of any kind.
That pisses me off.
It does. And so it's like, okay, well, are you saying that like you're in on this and you support this? Or are you saying that
you are if you do that, right?
Well, that's what you would think. But it's like you hear so many different times the Muslims, I'm going to use them for example, because that's what we're talking about right now, say, don't group us together with them. Don't treat us like the person that did that. There's, just because, we're a Muslim, we don't support this radical ideology. We don't support these things. And so, to a point, you can understand that, you can empathize with that. But now you're having groups of people say, don't cooperate with law enforcement. Don't talk to law enforcement. Well, that just makes it look, you can't help. We're human. It can't make us feel anything else. But do you want to hurt us? Like, are you in on this? Like, what is going on? Like, lay your cards out on the table. So yeah, it's just unfortunate because there are going to be innocent Muslims that are going to be looked at in a negative way because of this. But good Lord, how can we not? It's just very, very unfortunate. And yes, people keep bringing up too that there was another shooting last night in New York, and it was in I want to say Jamaica, Queens. It was outside of a nightclub that there were several people shot.
I can tell you this, Megan. At least in New Orleans, if the police department does what they're supposed to do, this doesn't happen. Number one. So that's on the police department. Now, I know the police departments aren't going to be great and perfect all the time. We protect and try to support police as much as possible. This decision to not use what they should have been using from the get-go when it comes to their new barriers it's incomprehensible to think. And then, of course, you have unalived bodies all over the streets because you didn't do it. But if these kinds of things are going to continue to happen, and we're told by people, these things can happen. Police departments and safety agencies have to step up their game, and you have to have quality people who are in charge. I mean, the New Orleans mayor, or excuse me, police chief, I mean, she left a lot to be desired. I mean, I'm like, and then you have people, I mean, there were all kinds of people with microphones speaking yesterday. I'm like, what? You guys make no sense. Listen to this. This is the kind of leadership. I mean, what was this supposed to be here? My gosh. First, our prosecutors were terrible in our big cities, weren't prosecuting crime. And now we have people that sound like this when this happens.
Good morning. First of all, we do know that the city of New Orleans was impacted by a terrorist attack. It's all still under investigation. You'll hear more after me. However, I have been in direct contact with the White House, with Governor Landry, and of course a unified command who is present here.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if it's a viable device or not.
Okay, this is the kind of leadership. Those are things that were said yesterday.
That's a cute nose ring she had.
Yeah, I don't care about the nose ring. I just want quality people doing quality jobs. My gosh, the leadership is terrible. What we saw in New Orleans, people there, citizens there deserve better. And it could happen anywhere in America now. We have to be better. We have to be on our game with these kinds of things that could be out there. From the chat line, People's Podcast platform, you can watch it on X, on Facebook, many days on TikTok. And of course, you can also catch us there. The news blaming Elon Musk for his electric car explosion. Okay, I don't know who's saying that. Authorities have already said it's not his vehicle. It was loaded with explosives.
Yeah.
And we showed you the video of it.
Yeah, had nothing to do with his battery or with the battery or anything like that. This was an intentional attack with explosives that had nothing to do with the car itself.
From the podcast platform, we're told the police chief was fired from Oakland before then being hired in New Orleans. And you don't want to point the fingers. But at some point, I mean, there's so much grieving that is going on, and every American should feel somehow, some way what's happening when they're there, 2, 3 in the morning, bringing in the new year, and then get run over literally by trucks. We showed you can find that video all over. We weren't going to show it today. It made me sick to my stomach watching it after the first time. I watched it and I'm like, ugh. Glenn says the police chief was definitely a DEI hire. And finally, really wonder who she is, because by FBI regs and employees is not supposed to have facial piercings. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was one of the people that you heard speaking. The bottom line is we have 15 people unalived, and then many more hurt there. And God knows what could have happened in Vegas with somebody else doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then I always say, and it's just this show, is something else going on? Or was it just for tomorrow? Is there something else where our attention is not supposed to be looking at something? And I know this may sound crazy. Vic's lost his mind again. But I know there's a vote for the speakership tomorrow, but so many times we see things happen and it takes our attention off, like the October 7th attack on Israel. Guess what was really happening at that point in time? The House committee, the Oversight Committee, was close to breaking down the Biden crime syndicate, and all the talk and evidence was on Biden receiving checks, Hunter Biden, and everything else that was going on across seas with illegal activity. October 7th happened, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
We never heard anything. So I'm wondering if something that happened yesterday, this horrible act, is taking our attention off something else that might be going on, some sort of distraction. All I know is Trump's coming in 18 days, and thank God for that.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a distraction. But gosh, it makes you wonder if they're willing to go to that length to cause a distraction simply because we're trying to figure out who the speaker.
Yeah, I don't think it's the speakership, but I'm just if these things. I'm trying to think of anything else going on.
Well, I think that it's just a mess. I think our country's a mess. I think the world is a mess. I think people have lost their mind. I think that there's so much hate and volatility in the world. I think that our country is still divided. I would love to see us try to come together. It's especially with new leadership coming in, whether you like the man or not, it's just time. And I think that having new leadership, whether it's Trump or someone else, there are things that need to happen in this country that need to be addressed ASAP. The fact that our border has been open for as long as it has is an absolute disgrace to the American people.
It's coming.
It's there. We have allowed, this is as simple as I can say it. We have allowed terrorists to literally, we've held the door open for them to come into our country. We have detained and questioned major Pakistani nationalists that are in with Iran. Literally, they have been connected with Iran that were, part of the group of people that wanted to take out Donald Trump. We have allowed them in our country. We ask them questions. They smooge the ICE, the Border Patrol, or whoever's questioning them. And then they go, oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and let them in. Not only are we going to let them in, we're going to put a little, badge on them that says that they're here to help America, to help us understand why we have these.
And probably give them an EBT card.
A VIP pass. Yeah. They drive them around. They give them.
Great point. Yeah. It's sad. I laugh instead of crying.
But that is what's happening. So as soon as we can tighten things up, and is it horrible that we have to live like the rest of the world does with closed borders and things like that? I don't know. I don't really feel that bad about it. I feel like if you want to go into another country, you need to be vetted and you need to know why, just like I would expect to go into any other country. I don't just expect to knock on the door, them open it for me, and I just go in and do whatever the hell I want to.
Well, I'm a big believer in the deep state. I know it exists. And I know that there are Democrats who are trying to do anything and everything they can to keep Donald Trump out. I'm not saying I think that Democrats want what happened yesterday. I did not say that. So nobody can say that I'm saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about any sort of trouble for Donald Trump. I cannot believe the stories that we have to hear coming out of yesterday. And it breaks my heart when I think about parents and family members getting stories of the people that they loved losing their lives because of somebody doing what they did yesterday. We don't want to see it continue to happen. We've been told by former military generals on this show, expect all kinds of attacks on America because we have lived very comfortably here and not considered what could possibly happen if we let a bunch of bad people in. What happened yesterday had nothing to do with illegals. It had to do with people who were already here. But I get afraid of what could happen. But what makes me a little bit more positive about things, Megan, is the fact that Donald Trump's coming into office. I trust him. And and it takes time to change things. You're right. What we're doing right now, my gosh, it's sickening. It's embarrassing. As Donald Trump said, the quote that we showed you today, America's a laughingstock. And I can't wait for him to come in. And right before, I think it was just a few days ago, his team dropped a new video and it gave me chills. And when we see what's happening in America, and some of us are afraid and some of us have curiosity, what the heck's going to happen? Can these things continue? Why can't we stop these things from happening? It just made me feel better when I was watching this video from Trump. And hopefully it makes you, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but my God, it is so great. It gives me hope, which is why I want to play it.
Trump has left the building. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive. Breaking news out of Palm Beach,
The FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The former president has both sides of the political aisle up in arms.
It is a dangerous and unstable moment in American history.
The Justice Department has just indicted former President Donald Trump.
For 7 years, they hated him, they targeted him, they hunted him.
This is the epitome of the abuse of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state.
As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail.
Woo!
Isn't
They have
that
been putting
awesome?
out some of the best videos since Donald Trump was running for president again, and it hit really hard for me, which is why I wanted to show that. We have to stay positive. We have to keep confident that we are going to go in the right direction, especially when the kind of stuff that happened yesterday. And we just pray and we ask God that we do stay as safe as possible in this country. But we are not immune from things that have happened in other countries happening here.
No, definitely. Again, not to be Debbie Downer, but to go back to 9/11, that happened here. Not only were they foreigners, but they were people that we educated here. They went to our schools.
Inside job. I'm just going to say, I know. I'm just,
No,
I don't want to lose track, but
you know, and you would have just thought that after that happened, that there would have been no way that our borders would have just remained so freely open the way that they were. So why am I shocked by that still after all these years? Because I mean, it was absolutely horrific what happened. I mean, that changed the trajectory of our country forever. I mean, it's, you know, there are people that are still suffering the effects from 9/11. But anyway, you would just think that that things would have been different, that we would have buckled down and learned our lesson the first time. And here we are.
But you know why? It was on purpose. It wasn't by accident. It was on purpose.
Well, it was definitely on
to
purpose, but who was behind it? There's so many different.
Well, even Democrats will tell you
thoughts.
it's the deep state, those in positions of power that want to tear this country apart from the inside out. From the chat line, best president in my lifetime. In God we trust. It's the religion, not illegals in these cases, of course. Cindy says, we were in Florida Keys the week of the election. And on election day, I looked up and I saw a rainbow. And I told my husband, it's going to be okay.
Oh, that's nice. That is really nice.
On election day, I saw one of the coolest rainbows. I didn't even tell you guys, you bring this up, that I have ever seen. And it was in the St. Louis area on the Illinois side. I had some work to do over on that side. The rainbow on election day, you saw where it started, the entire rainbow up, and where it came down. And I had never seen that before. I have a video of it. And I wish if I could do it, I'll send it to you. I'll look for it if I have a shot before the end of the show, or we can show it next week. So that just makes me want, I forgot about that.
I love all this. I love all this rainbows and unicorns for the election day. I was sick to my stomach, nervous wreck.
Of course. We're like, Megan, it's going to be fine.
I was like, do I look at the TV? No, I'm not going to look at the TV. Do I look at my phone? No, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to see who's winning. I'm just going to, I mean, I'm so glad that you guys all were living in the world of rainbows.
We were trying.
The election. That was not the case with me.
I mean, it's sad
sure.
yesterday. We try to have some fun around here too. We try to keep things light, but we also educate. That's what it's always about, trying to educate. And that's why we open up the platform for you to jump in and help us out. You know, it's your platform as well. And we try to get everything. Trish says the double rainbow in Illinois. That's what I saw. It was massive. Mandy says, yes, I saw it too. I saw it as well. And, you know, people make fun of us and go, okay, you can say rainbows for Donald Trump, whatever. There's just a lot of bad. The world has always seen a lot of bad, and we're going to continue to always see bad. We talk about it in the show. I know I do too. If you believe in good, you have to believe in bad. If you believe that there's a God, you have to believe in the devil. And we just have to do what we can each and every day. No, we can't be afraid, but you gotta somehow, some way, put the best people in charge to help take care of us.
That's for sure.
I mean, we're tired. And talk to family members who've lost somebody through terrorism or something else.
Well, and I think part of the problem is going to be moving forward that there are not going to be just, like we saw the group of people marching in New York yesterday in support of the guy who went in and
in Manhattan,
blew,
for people who didn't see that video.
Yeah, blew himself up and down in New Orleans and caused, mass casualties. But there are going to be other people that, of all different faiths or no faith at all that are citizens here that are going to sympathize for some strange reason. They find any way they can to sympathize with these people. And that's what we're up against. It's a completely different mindset. I always say that it's not about being on the left or the right. We are in a culture war. We are in a good versus evil war. And there are just people that literally will, just like they did with Luigi Mangione. They're still making excuses and sympathizing with him. I mean, and these are Americans. These are people born and raised in America that are sympathizing with him. I mean, that guy has gotten more love letters, in just a month than most people will ever get in their entire lifetime. I just don't understand, but it's a sick world. That's all I can say.
More information is starting to come out on the man who detonated the Cybertruck outside the Trump Tower in Vegas. We knew he was. He's a 37-year-old Army veteran. He a veteran, is 19 years of experience. Megan was talking to you about that earlier. Special forces and intelligence. Why would he go detonate it with himself inside the vehicle as well? Himself inside the vehicle.
And if he's special forces, you would think he would know to use different explosives, because it didn't cause that much damage and it only killed him, right? So,
yeah, and 7 others injured.
Right. You would think somebody with 19 years of experience in that, you would think that they would.
It would have gone a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that still aren't super clear. And hopefully we'll find out. I mean, we still here we have this guy that showed up in New Orleans and hurt and unalived all of these people. And literally we know.
Yes, both were military. If you were just joining the show, they'd asked.
We know about him. They're showing videos of him from his real estate ventures. We know exactly, how long he was in the military, where he was stationed, that he went to Afghanistan. We know all these things. And yet the guy that, I'm not going to call him a guy, the kid that tried to take Donald Trump out, have we even gotten in the kid's phone yet? We know nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I just find it so strange.
Great point. We talked about this too when that happened. Other things happened, and we know more about them than we did with that incident.
Nothing. The 21-year-old kid that doesn't look like he knew his head from his butt, and we're just sitting here going, dirt, we can't get in his phone.
Greg says that kid could have been, or the guy could have been broken too. He just reached a point where he couldn't take anymore. He couldn't escape. And if you talk to people who've been through war or been through situations like that, sometimes you can't get back.
Yeah. Well,
from a mental, emotional standpoint, no matter, depending upon what they've seen, experienced, or even done.
Yeah. Well, there's other ways to cope, and this is not one of them.
Yeah.
At all. So, and that just goes back to what we talk about. The mental health crisis in America is alive and real. I don't think that I don't even think that we can humanly possibly understand where it's at or why it's where it is.
This is another good point from the chat line. The father of the terrorist from New Orleans, his dad was a Pakistani national. Yeah. Okay. I know. Married to multiple African-American women. And with the Vegas man, do they even know if the guy was actually alive? Because Teslas can be remotely driven. No, it's a good point. And how would you know? I don't even know if autopsy could tell you that. But Jeannie does say PTSD is real, and I know it is
Yes.
because I've talked to veterans who talk about PTSD.
Mhm.
And then, of course, yes, the VA does suck, unfortunately. A lot of good people there doing hard work and good work. They just don't have the support of the government. Not enough
Yeah.
money there, not enough support. It needs to be revamped. And gosh, I would love to
Mhm.
put that on a list for Donald Trump to do with the other million things that he has to do when he gets into office.
Yeah. Well, and and PTSD is real. My dad is a military guy. He's an army guy. He served in Vietnam as a fighter pilot in a helicopter for almost 2 years. Talk about PTSD, but early on, and that was a war that no one wanted to be in. I mean, that war, I mean, you can't the American soldiers weren't going over there going, we got to win this one. I mean, that whole war was just I won't get on my rant about that, but my dad has had to do what he's needed to do in his life in order to maintain sanity and to have a healthy marriage and to raise children and to finish school and to have a business and all of these things. And so, there are ways, and maybe it does boil back down to we're not taking care of our veterans the way that we should. I don't know. But all I know
we
is
don't.
that
we don't. That's a whole
the
nother subject,
furthest
but you're so
thing-
right.
the furthest thing from a lot of people's mind when they are experiencing horrific events or trauma is hurting others. That's not, they don't go hand in hand necessarily.
One thing to
So-
keep an eye on from the chat line 2 video showed a white truck pull up right before the explosion in Vegas, open its door and then close it. And then the explosion happened. So, that's, speculation at this point, but certainly we'll continue to follow that. Hey, real quick, want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors or advertisers, and we're always looking for advertisers. We are grateful for any support you can give us. You can reach out to me, Vic, at canceltheshow.com, local throughout the St. Louis metro area or national. And we have a big reach, and we're grateful on all of the platforms that we promote our companies with. The Century H2O water system, not only does it purify your water, but it adds oxygen, magnesium, and calcium. 15 minutes to install under your sink. $300. You can get 25% off right now, but use the code. And we always show you the code Century with an S, Century, H2O.com, /discount, /save sips. Century, SENTRI, Century, H2O.com, /discount, /save sips. And when you buy, we get a little percentage here. It's amazing water. I use it. I'm convinced, it helps your skin. It helps me sleep. Your pets drink it. The other thing about it is there's a reason the Trump family's using it. There's a reason why our new health leader, RFK Jr., has one in his home. It's pretty simple. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. And if you don't believe me, talk to the people who listen to the show who have purchased it already. Also, shout out to Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley. They're off right now, but I'm still giving them a shout out. They come back Monday. They took off. Marla took her staff. How cool is this? She took her staff and 18 people. They're taking their trip down to Orlando, but she took care of accommodations to celebrate them for working hard.
That's awesome.
I know. And I'm like, how cool is that? So they're going to spend the weekend. They're there in Orlando, but Wenty's on Monday. Wenty's will be back open on Monday. Work hard, play hard. Playoffs, Sports Bar and Grill. Check out Playoffs. It's in O'Fallon, Missouri. Great place to watch the game. Good times, great people as well. Just like Wenty's, sports, food, and games. It's in the Triad Center West Shopping Center in O'Fallon, Missouri. Also, when it comes to charcoal, there's one charcoal. It's the best charcoal in America, and you can buy it through Ace Hardware. It is called Rockwood. Rockwood charcoal. The best charcoal in America, by the way, is made in Missouri. If you didn't know that, it's because of our climate here. You want charcoal that breaks apart in your hand. That's right. Take one of those little charcoal briskets, break it apart in your hand. It'll disintegrate. That's how you know you have natural charcoal. If it doesn't, you have fillers, and you don't want that stuff burning on your food. Rockwood charcoal. One of the best sandwich shops you're going to find throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area and around the country is Capriati's. The owner loved it so much when he had it in Vegas. He's like, I got to bring this to the Show Me State. So he did. Great sandwiches start with great ingredients. The Wagyu beef and their roasted fresh turkey made daily. Also, check out, if you do get a chance, if you're looking to do catering, do this. Check it out. You're not going to find a better platter than what they have at Capriati's. If you're looking for some clothing, and if you're wondering if custom clothing could be for you, check it out. You may be shocked because of what Tom James could do and how the price is. your selection, and you get lifetime alterations. There's something about for yourself, something about it for somebody else. 314-862-6500, 314-862-6500. You can also contact Ben Lawler, b.lawler at tomjames.com. And when it comes to real estate these days, Donald Trump says he's working on a plan to help kickstart the economy. We're starting to see market available, but then in certain parts of the country, but other parts there isn't. But you got to have your plan in place. That's what Megan does. 314-249-1708, 314-249-1708. You can also email her megan.livingstone@exprealty.com, megan.livingstone@exprealty.com. It won't hurt to have a conversation. She'll give you a positive approach, realistic, but positive, and keep you on the straight and narrow. Also, if you're looking to sell land and property, she's taking care of that right now. She has a couple of those properties she's working on. So we are grateful for that. Rick says, by the way, that will be my charcoal going forward. Rick, check it out. The owner also very, very much involved in a lot of conservative causes, and Donald Trump as well. Roland says, go take your kids to see Sonic 3 so it can keep destroying Mufasa and Disney. The more Disney burns, the more we win. I've heard Sonic 3 is pretty damn good. I haven't seen it. I don't get into those movies, but I heard it's really, really, really cool. Are your kids old enough? Are they too old for Sonic 3?
I mean, they might say that they are.
Jim Carrey's in it.
They would watch it. I don't do those. I don't do animated either.
We know Hollywood tried to cancel him.
Yeah.
And, he was trying to show the light on a lot of people. And he's like, I'm going to tell everybody what's happening because I'm Jim Carrey and people look at me. They listen to me.
Yeah. Didn't Disney just buy Hulu as well?
I didn't know that.
It's really
wouldn't be surprised.
Because there's a few things that I watch on Hulu and man, I'm like, oh no, I do not like that. I am not a Disney fan.
Can we end the show on some positive things, some happy things?
If you must.
I know. New Year's happened 2 nights ago. We had a whole different show planned, but then obviously the tragedy happened and then the other blow up. But this should make you feel better today. Donald Trump and Elon hanging out. They are hanging out a lot. Sometimes all of us, you may drive people crazy. Sometimes you need your space from people.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like Elon lives in Mar-a-Lago or any of the Trump Towers. But I just love this. And we can play the music if you want, Joe.
2 oversized balls doing the YMCA.
I love it.
They are.
I love it.
They are something. You know what? I think that they're a perfect pair.
They are.
I think that they are. They're both a little. They're both a little socially off. I know that Elon has a diagnosis. Trump does not, that I know of. But they're both a little socially weird.
Trump's
and they
not
just
socially weird. He is.
He is so social. And that's part of what I love him. He has no filter. He has no tact.
Yes.
He's
no
not
filter.
an everyday guy.
Yes.
No, he doesn't. But that's exactly what we need. We don't
Joe
need a
says he's one of the
politician running
funniest
the country.
Joe says he's one of the funniest guys he's ever heard.
He's
Who?
definitely a comedian.
Trump.
Oh, he
Trump,
is.
yeah.
Because he has no filter. He has
Right.
no tact.
From the chat line.
He
They're a
doesn't.
perfect
He doesn't
pair.
care.
I mean, they're
you know?
dancing together New Year's Eve. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who thought it was a great idea at Walmart to do this, but as we end the show today, it made me laugh when I saw this. But could you imagine going through Walmart shopping and you see this sweatshirt that says, "Let it snow," with a snowman that appears to be lines of cocaine on a table. Walmart.
And a straw in his hand.
Didn't even see
Oh
that.
Lord. Oh my gosh.
Walmart had to apologize for its "Let It Snow" sweater that depicts Santa
Wow.
Oh,
They
that's
just
Santa.
let that slip in the
with
store.
lines of coke.
I think that's how he delivers all the presents in one night.
I thought when you showed that to us this morning, I thought that there was going to be like a hunter implication somewhere in there, like like an
Oh,
H,
yeah,
like an
hunter in the
HB
back.
monogram
Oh,
on his
yeah.
sweater or something like that.
Lucky us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Glenn says, obviously you didn't see the Rogan or Vaughn interviews. I got it. If your mind goes that way, yes, and love him. Talking about Trump. Trish says Trump reminds him. I lost the chat line there. Guys, we appreciate you kickstarting the first show of 2025 with us here on Cancel This. We'll let you know if we change the name. We're thinking about doing it as we approach episode 500. because we feel like cancel culture is starting to go away, it's starting to go bye-bye.
It's kind of run its course.
And it might be. You may agree, you may disagree, but we'll keep you in mind. Who knows? We'll see where we go with it. Maybe I'll let you take a look at maybe possible names, but we'll have some fun with it. We're just grateful for your support. For those of you who have made some donations, anything helps. We're grateful for it. You go to cancelthisshow.com, click on donate, and you can do anything. We have it set up for you. We're grateful for that if you can. And if you have any ideas on advertisers, sponsors, people just want to get part of the show, let us know. You can email me, vic@cancelthisshow.com. But grateful as we kickstart the new year with Projo and Megan Marie Moret. I'm Vic Faust. Guys, thanks for watching what we affectionately call the fastest hour plus of news podcasting for cancelthisshow.com. Have an awesome day. And I guess we'll be watching what happens with news coverage and things that are coming down. Sugar Bowl, 3:00 today. Have an awesome day. Are you looking to elevate your brand's presence? Partner with Cancel This Show with myself, Vic Faust, and my co-host,
Megan Marie. We're ranked in the top 10% globally.
Our show has reached over 1.68 million engaged listeners, and we continue to grow monthly.
Podcasting is one of the best ways to advertise
because it offers a highly engaged audience, SEO targeted reach,
and the ability to build a personal connection with listeners.
Dive into the dynamic world of cancel culture, politics, all current events, and the latest news with us.
It's the American taxpayers that are having to pay for all of this monkey business left and right.
Look at all of these pictures. They are using AI to generate fake photos, and we show you them. And Joe will show, we got a video of one, we've got certain pictures.
They were hiding the fact and trying to lie to the American people for months that Joe Biden was doing well.
This is Kamala. This is Joe Biden. It's Barack Obama. It's Jake Sullivan, all together doing anything and everything they can to strike back at Donald Trump because he continues to kick their ass.
If that doesn't make you mad enough to vote one way or another in this election, nothing will do it.
Get your company's voice heard, your brand recognized,
and the exposure you deserve.
Does your brand align with our mission?
Let's talk and make an impact together.